Hello, I am coming to you today with episode 4, part 1 of the Founding Fathers Discovery Series. This has been incredibly exciting for me to discover all this information. I hope that you're receiving it well. Some of it is like, really? And others, I know when it came through, I was like, of course, that makes perfect sense. I want you to know that um, there's going to be many, many more, but it does take quite a while to do the channelings and compile all the information to where it makes sense because this comes through in pieces. And then to also go back and overlay um, the the published facts about these presidents, and then that way you're given everything that I know, and you get your free will choice to decide for yourself what makes sense, what resonates in your soul, and what doesn't. So today is going to be part 1 on Benjamin Franklin. I'm going to give you a lot of what is publicly known about Ben Franklin as a founding father. And of course, I'll add in my downloads and channelings as we go along. So public details. Born January 17th, 1706. Died, wink, wink, April 17th, 1790. Benjamin Franklin, founding father of the United States, widely admired as the first U.S. ambassador to France. He was considered a writer, an inventor, a statesman, a diplomat, a printer, a publisher, a politician, and a philosopher. In 1730, was initiated into the Masonic Lodge and became Grand Master Freemason in 1734. He is considered the 6th president of Pennsylvania. He was married to Deborah Reed from 1730 to 1774. Children that are listed are William Franklin, Sarah Franklin Bach, and Francis Folger Franklin. Founding institutions that he's responsible for: University of Pennsylvania. He was actually the 2nd president of the university. He also established the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, the American Philosophical Society, Library Company of Philadelphia, the Academy and College of Philadelphia in 1751, and the Union Fire Company, also known as Franklin's Bucket Brigade. I thought that sounded funny. Ben Franklin was known as one of the most influential intellects of his time, a drafter and signer of the Declaration of Independence, and first Postmaster General. He spearheaded the repeal of the Stamp Act in 1765 by British Parliament. This imposed the direct tax on British colonies in America, requiring that all printed materials be produced on stamped paper from London. This included a revenue of the stamp. This must be paid to the British currency, not colonial paper. And this tax paid to support the British military in which ultimately brought upon the slogan, "No taxation without representation." So they charged a tax to the people in the colonies to print anything, had to be on stamped paper of the crown. And then that money was actually sent to basically fortify the military in their 7 Years' War. Like, the colonists got nothing. And it was illegal to print anything without stamped paper. Benjamin Franklin never graduated primary school. Instead, he's a self-taught intellect by being a voracious reader. He learned printing from an older brother, and at age 15, Ben Franklin's brother James founded the New England Current, the third paper founded in Boston. When Ben Franklin was denied the chance to write a letter to the paper for publication, Franklin adopted the pseudonym of Silence Dogood. You may recall that from the movies National Treasure. As a middle-aged widow, her letters were published and became the talk of the town. Ben Franklin was an advocate for free speech, proclaiming via Mrs. Dogood's letters, without freedom of thought, there can be no such thing as wisdom, and no such thing as public liberty without freedom of speech. In 1734, Benjamin Franklin edited and published the first Masonic book in the Americas. Ben Franklin was secretary of St. John's Lodge in Philadelphia from 1735 to 1738. In 1738, Ben Franklin appeared as a witness in a manslaughter trial against two men who killed a, air quote, simple-minded apprentice named Daniel Reese in a fake Masonic initiation gone wrong, allegedly. It came out Ben Franklin knew of the hazing that caused Mr. Reese's body to be burned to death and did nothing to stop it. Ben Franklin remained a Freemason all of his life. Ben Franklin no longer accepted the key to the Puritan ideas. He was raised in Puritan ways in his home. He no longer accepted the divinity of Jesus or much of any religious dogma. He considered himself Christian and a wellspring of morality. Remember that later. Benjamin Franklin developed 13 values to cultivate his own character, which he developed all by his 20th birthday. Number 1, temperance. Eat not to dullness and drink not to elevation. Number 2, silence. Speak not but what may benefit others or yourself. Avoid causing rifts in conversation. Number 3, order. Let all your things have their places. Let each part of your business have its own time. Number 4, resolution. Resolve to perform what you ought and perform without fail what you resolve. Number 5, frugality. Make no expense, but do good to others or yourself, i.e., waste nothing. Number 6, industry. Lose no time. Be always employed in something useful. Cut off all unnecessary actions. Number 7, sincerity. Use no hurtful deceit. Think innocently and justly. And if you speak, speak accordingly. Number 8, justice. Wrong none by doing injuries or omitting the benefits that are your duty. Number 9, moderation. Avoid extremes. Forbear resenting injuries so much as you think they deserve. 10, cleanliness. Tolerate no uncleanliness in the body, clothes, or habitation. 11, tranquility. Be not disturbed at trifles or accidents, whether they be common or unavoidable. Number 12, chastity. Rarely use venery, but for health and offspring. Never to dullness, weakness, or the injure of your own or another's peace or reputation. Remember that one. 13, humility. Imitate Jesus and Socrates. Benjamin Franklin worked only one virtue weekly, admitted falling short many times, aspiring to attain these most of his life. Benjamin Franklin owned slaves, as many as 7, 2 in his home. He bought and sold humans until 1758. He began to speak out against slavery, and he did so by taking slaves to England for freedom. But they ended up only being able to work in a kind of a slave status anyway. Among many attributes and accolades, Ben Franklin is adorning many buildings and statues, the U.S. stamps, the $100 bill since 1914. This ends part 1 of Benjamin Franklin Founding Fathers Discovery Series. It gets very juicy from here on out. There really was not a great place to slice that up. So stay tuned for episode 4, part 2, where we get into the juicy bits that they never wanted you to know about Mr. Benjamin. Thanks for joining me today.